Check.
Mic check. Thank you guys for tuning in to West Wednesday. This is week 525. This is day 3,675, and this is 10 years later. We've been fighting for accountability, not just for my big brother Tyrone West, but literally for all the victims of police brutality and murder. And it's just sad that we still don't have accountability. And right now, even though I'm very grateful, very humble that they're looking at my brother's case to be reinvestigated, but it needs to happen soon. Like, I feel like we shouldn't even have to wait another day. Waiting another day is too long. Meanwhile, all of the 17 murderers are living their life. Most of them had qualified immunity. Most of them have promotions. And I just want to focus, even though I always focus on the first two killer cops, and mainly the first one, Officer Ruiz. But I really want to just focus on the things that were happening with the first two killer cops, literally. So in case anybody don't know what happened to my brother Tyrone West was brutally executed on July the 18th, 2013, literally beat to death in broad daylight by 17 unhinged maniacs. Beat to death for no reason. And it's just sad and disgusting. But the first killer cop, Ruiz and Chapman, were the first two in an unmarked car, and Ruiz was a part of the gun trace task force. But literally, let's talk about I'm sorry, let's talk about Officer Ruiz, who literally now was a sergeant, who literally now is married to a state attorney prosecutor, Michelle Battle. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, how you get to kill somebody out when my brother was murdered? He literally was on the force for maybe not even 2 years, less than 2 years, and he was able to kill my brother and literally get a big promotion, a big pay raise, everything. Because it seems like the pattern is once they kill someone, they get rewards. They're the biggest gang in America. Let's be crystal clear. They have the same strategies and tactics as a gang. But the only thing, the difference is they are legalized gangs. They get away with their bloody murder tactics. And that's disgusting. But just wanted to talk about, and we were just at a meeting with, you know, Worley. We were at a meeting with Worley. We were at a meeting this week with Worley. We were at a meeting this week with Worley, and my issue is, oh, thank you, that's cool. Awesome. Well, you got two ways, okay. All right, that's what's up. Okay, Ben says today, sorry, he got all this stuff out here. I'm just amazed. Like, you got two things going at one time, at the same time. But
They
anyway,
won't shut us down.
that's right, that's what's up. But we were just at a meeting with um, the would-be commissioner. But right now, I feel as though we should be able to select our own commissioner. And the fact that Woolley was the captain in charge of those killer cops that murdered my brother and nothing was done. Like, if my thing is, if you couldn't handle a few cops, like 40 or whatever, how in the world are you going to handle all? Like, be the top cop. That's my biggest thing. But I just wanted to literally talk about Worley. Worley took over the Northeast District at the beginning of the lawsuit of Ashley Ogilvy, who was assaulted by police officers in 2012. And in June 2013, Officer Nicholas Chapman, and I'm just going to talk about Ruiz. There was many more, but pretty much for these so-called, so for the traffic stop, Officer Ruiz and Chapman were a part of the traffic stop that pulled the brothers over, um, Joseph Green and James Green. Okay, so let's talk about in 2013 as well. Officer Chapman and Ruiz pretty much and Nathan Omar were accused for another illegal traffic stop, and that was for Abdul Salam on July the 17th. All right, and they beat this man with his baby, his 3-year-old baby, in the back seat of a vehicle. They beat this man, and the only thing to save Abdul Salam's life is an 80-year-old witness. An elderly woman had to come out, put her body on top of Abdul, and say, "Do not hit or kick him again." All right, so let's be clear. And then on July the 17th, guess who was at the scene of another crime which led to my brother's brutal execution? There's Chapman and Ruiz again, all right, and Nathan, all right. So, oh, 20, I'm sorry, let's go 24 hours. I'm jumping ahead of this myself. On July the 17th, here these killer cops are again, and this was with the Brown Hearst, okay? Literally, one day, 24 hours before they murdered my brother on July the 18th, 2013. And that's when my life, my family life changed forever. And that's why we've been out here in these streets for 10 long years, 525 weeks. It is very disgusting, it's very heartbreaking, it's devastating to have to live through this pain, work, pay your dues, and just live through this pain. And not only that, the part that really bothers me is that it didn't start with my brother, and unfortunately, it does not end with my brother. Because before my brother, there was Anthony Anderson, a whole year, a whole year before, by the same exact unit that murdered my brother. Okay? Anthony Anderson was killed, tossed on his head like a basketball. And what happened? Nothing. And literally, and so just imagine all the other years that we didn't know about or whatever. But the fact that we had these road cops constantly in our communities, killing people and nothing's being done, that is very disturbing. So I urge everyone, make sure you show up. The next meeting for our would-be commissioner is going to be um, Shake and Bake. Yes, the next meeting is at Shake and Bake this Tuesday coming up, 6 to 8. Please come out there, and not only come out there, ask questions, get your answers, and make sure that you call your local council person and say, hey, just like Shorty say, he don't deserve to serve. Period. And just like I talked about, it's sad that the news is so disgusting, and I give a big shout out to Be More News that covered everything. Like literally, they didn't even show the regular local news crap. They didn't even show any of like what we were saying. They didn't show what Shorty was saying. I thank God Fox 40 Live picked up on my sister Dina. I was shocked. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's just sad and disgusting. But then you use all the questions that I asked him, and you just show him answering. But you don't play me saying what I was saying. You just show him talking about the failure in Brooklyn Home. Well, I brought that up about Brooklyn Home. I was like, so it wasn't just me coming there saying, oh, I just want to talk about Tyrone West. No, it was about Tyrone West and all the victims of police brutality, including Nicholas Davis Lee. And if anybody don't know Muslim brother Nicholas Davis Lee, he was pretty much killed at the Ricerstown Plaza Giants. Unfortunately, where our mayor mother works at. Literally, you had a white security guard. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about Nicholas Lee for a minute. Now, you have a Muslim brother that stayed decked out in suits, stayed decked out in the best. But this particular day that he went into that market, he literally, him and his wife, young couple, had just went to go swimming from the pool. They left the pool. And anybody knows that when you leave a swimming pool and you go into a supermarket, it's already freezing. Like literally, that's why I keep my jacket on all the time. Like you walk into the movie theater, especially in the summertime, the air is blazing. So Nicholas, being the man that he was, decided, oh, you know what? I don't want my baby to get sick. So he decided to take his shirt off, and the only shirt he rather be cold and protect his little baby because his baby and all of them were in the pool having fun. So he takes his shirt off, places it officer. Literally, no respect, no nothing. Just straight come following him. You can't come in here without no shirt. He's probably trying to explain. I don't have all the details, but one can imagine he's explaining, hey, sir, I'm just coming from the pool type of thing. I don't mean no harm, no disrespect, but I just want to grab me some groceries and leave real quick. I'm just covering my baby up. We just left the pool. This racist piece of crap that knows that he can murder a black brother and get no type of charge, decided not only to follow them through the market, but to spit. And that's the worst thing you can ever do to anyone. That is an assault charge on top, off the top. That's a straight assault. If I go and I step on anybody, they're gonna arrest me, and they should, as they should. But the fact that he was able to go and spit in a black woman's face, you got a white racist piece of crap that decides to play top racist and goes and spit in Brother Nicholas Lee's wife's face. And at this point, you know it's on. They're like, what, like, this crazy. And then he's trying to defend his wife. And then all hell breaks out. He guns an unarmed man down, an unarmed black brother with his baby and wife down in the side of a supermarket where our mayor mother works at. She could have been shot, God forbid. Customers could have been shot. He didn't care. When they have the taste of blood, they're worse than a wild animal. They don't care. They don't care who's out there. They're in a rage and they have something that they want to get off of their chest, and they don't care. They just do what they do. Because you know why? All they have to do is come back with the foolishness of, I fear for my life. They're the ones with the weapons. And not only, just a gun, they have their taser, they have all these weapons, canisters, a mace, every type of tool to whatever, to hurt somebody or to stop them or whatever. But they have all these weapons. And they're the ones running up to do something or I fear for my life. That is disgusting. But the crazy part, no other job that I know in any field can say, you know what, I fear for my life. Let's take for instance, if we had a house burning down with a family inside, God forbid, and we had 5 firefighters out there, and they see all the flames coming out, now they should definitely truly be in fear because they don't know when they're entering that house, they don't know the outcome. They don't know if they're going to make it back out that house safe. Floors are collapsing. That's a horrible job to have to go through it. But they decide that that's what they want to do. That's the field. They want to save lives. And they signed up and they say, you know what, even if it takes my life, this is what I want to do. They are the real heroes. But anyway, our house is burning down. Because they sat on the curb, and when their captain and chief show up and say, hey, I fear for my life. I ain't going there to save the family. I'm sorry. Could they get off and still continue on being our firefighters? Hell to the no. They might even get charged. So why is it that killer cops can fear for their life and get away with it? Because it goes back to being into slavery, to being the slave catchers, and that's a whole nother ball game. But that's what it goes back to. Yes, Willie Lynch, as my brother Shorty just said. But it's sad and disgusting. We're up under these same laws, the same hatred that we had over 400 years ago. And we have to live through this. And pray to God nothing will happen if you pray or think positive thoughts if you don't. We're in real sad, serious times. And the fact that they want to not hold anyone accountable, that's the part that breaks my heart. And the fact that I heard our commissioner said that he showed up to the scene, but he didn't remember if it was minutes or hours later. The fact that you showed up to that scene speaks in volumes. So I remember everybody talking about that scene. That scene still sticks to anybody that was on that scene. I don't care if it was a minute, I don't care if it was an hour, a second. Everybody that was on Kentmore and Causeway with all those witnesses coming out their house crying, weeping, doing everything to try to save my brother's life, but getting threatened by Ruiz, who has the famous words of saying, get the F back, the same thing can happen to you. He did it in Darrell's case. He did it in Abdul's case. He did it in my brother's case. And he even did it in the unknown man, and we still don't know. And if you're watching this, sir, please contact us ASAP. Because he was holding on his foot and his kneeling in somebody's neck, pulling out his weapon, telling everybody, get the F back. That is his known MO. That's what he did. He is a bully. He is a coward. He is unhinged. And I hope he's watching this. Because guess what? I'm going to make sure that not only you, sir, but Chapman and all and anybody involved in my brother's death is going down. And I honestly think that has been the struggle of them trying to really open my brother's case up and be transparent. Because there's so many people that's complicit in my brother's murder. And that's disgusting. We had the medical examiner's office, David Fowler, literally lied about the way the cause of man of my brother's death. Said my brother died from a bad heart and dehydration. As if 17 maniacs didn't beat him to death. And then had Pamela Southall signed off with him. And then they still got her. She's still working in charge of the medical examiner's office. The black sister that decided to lie and roll with a white racist piece of crap, and she knew it. And for her to actually look at my brother's body being dead and know what they saw, and you can sit up there and you can lie and have no integrity, no grace, no mercy, no humanity, nothing, and lie just to get killer cops off. Shame on you. Your day is coming too. Shame on all of them. But I really honestly think, in my opinion, this is not West Wednesday. This is Tawanda Jones speaking. In my opinion, they're hiding the truth because a lot of people will have to go down, including the medical examiner's office. Let's talk about Detective Delgado, who pretty much lied on everything. He dismissed witnesses. How the hell, sir, are you going to dismiss witnesses that didn't know my brother from a can of paint? Had no reason to lie and kept saying, oh my God, they beat him to death. But I guarantee you, sir, if it was the other way and Tyrone West would have been the killer of any one of those 17 maniacs, you wouldn't have discredited their witness. You would have took everybody's statement. Everybody's statement would have been held high as the Bible. Okay? Let's be clear. But when it's a black unarmed man, you can just knock down a witness, try to threaten them. Oh no, I'm gonna just crush in the dumbest reasons. Like this one guy, because this man was born short, like short. He said because he was only 5 foot something and he was like near a tree. He said that this man couldn't possibly see what he saw. Like, are you kidding me? So that's telling me Shorty can't see something because Shorty's short. Shorty couldn't see somebody up the block getting murdered right now. Get out of here with that foolishness. Then one man, he said was too old. He said that the man was too old, and the man was like, yeah, he kept referring to my brother as a boy. He said they kept beating that boy so bad, and he said, oh no, you're too old. How old are you, sir? You don't suffer from dementia. Like all this foolishness discredited him. Discredited a couple that was getting off the bus that stopped. They didn't even live around there, but they heard my brother scream. They stopped and they saw everything. Discredited them. Well, you wasn't a part of the community. What the hell of them being a part of a community when they see murder? But again, if it was my brother that murdered one of those 17 cowards, they would have took everybody's word plus some. Those videos that they took, they would have been surfacing all over the internet everywhere. My brother killing someone. But when he's murdered, y'all hide video footage. Pictures will disappear. Witnesses. The one witness that I always worry about was the one they said that had everything from beginning to the end. They said the very next week he moved. Why did this brother move? A brother that was living in that community more than 5 years that had the whole entire video of my brother being murdered. He moved. I don't know if to this day if they murdered him. I don't know if they paid him off. I don't know if he's still living. I don't longer where I don't even know his name. But I do know the community member said we only had like 10 to 15 minutes when we gave, but the one that had it from beginning to end, pointed to his house that was abandoned at the time when we went back around there, said he moved. But I said all this to say, and here go the pigs again. Here go the pigs again. They have nothing better to do, but you couldn't pay one pig to go when the massacre was happening in Brooklyn Park. Something, let's be clear, let's talk about Brooklyn Park for a second. With Brooklyn Park, that was something that they did, that was something big, something huge that they did traditionally every year. Traditionally, every year. It's just as great and big as Pride Day. It's just as great and big as Dr. King's Day. It was something that the community did, other communities came around and support Brooklyn Day. They called it Brooklyn Day. That was going on for years. And you mean to tell me that Worley didn't know anything about it? Like, are you kidding me? And they rather blame Safe Street than to blame the Baltimore City Police Department for their failure. And then they rather blame a teenager that was being stupid, that was pulling out a weapon, probably high as a kite. We don't know if it was a toy gun, a real gun, but they rather hold him with ride X, all this foolishness. But you ain't catch Nan Killer yet? Get out of here. A massacre. And that's what seems to be happening. It breaks my heart. You see it over and over again. I just heard another teenager was murdered. It's just sad. We're really in sad times. But I can go on and on, but I won't. But I just want you guys to make it your business. They may have the weapons, but we have the voice, so we have the power to be heard, to not be shut down. We have that power. And you know, and I give it up for my brother, shut him down shorty. He a one man crew. He will shut the whole town down by his goddamn self. One man crew. He don't need a hundred one. Like he said, he just needs a million people to listen. He don't need a million people marching with him. Want to shut it down. He need a million people to listen. So right now, I need a million people to listen. Please make sure you show up. Even if you can't show up this Tuesday, there's several other community meetings that are happening. Please make sure you show up, show out, because guess what? We don't need this type of foolishness. This is our life. It could easily be you. Like, I never thought this would be my life. I never thought that after working a hard day of work, being a mother of four children, that I would have to come stand on corner after corner and relive a nightmare. Relive a nightmare. I never thought in a million years that it would be me not being able to sleep at night. Literally, if I get 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep, I'm good. That's grand for me. But that's not resting. And I won't rest until I get accountability for my big brother Tyrone West, and not just him, but all the victims of police brutality and murder. And as I think about my brother, I think about Timothy Fleming. Those babies are still in a house where their father was murdered, where their poor father was having a mental health crisis. Instead of him getting the help, he got murdered. I have people in my family that suffer from mental health crisis. We all suffer, as a matter of fact. Let's be crystal clear. How can you not suffer with trauma and seeing it and hearing about it all day long? But I see the difference with me. I don't use drugs. I don't get high. I just pray to God and I keep it moving. That's all I can do. But what I'm saying is, I think about one of my family members that suffers from mental health crisis issues, and I pray to God that they don't use that to take his life. That is disgusting. It's sad. We're in sad times where, right now, we're in times where your own family don't care about you. They will leave you high and dry. They'll be with you as long as you got money. This is a capitalist system. And I'm just going to be real and transparent. When you got money, you got a lot of friends. But when that money run out, everybody leaves you. But the real ones stay. And don't never, ever think that stuff can't happen to you because we could be up on top of the world today and on the bottom of it tomorrow. That's real. So just remember, treat people the way you want to be treated. That's all you got to do. You don't do nothing less. If you don't want to come out here and fight the streets, meaning in a peaceful way, protest or do your part as a community person, you don't want to do that, that's fine. But just treat people the way you want to be treated. If you don't want nobody to disrespect you, don't disrespect them. You don't want nobody to use you, don't use nobody. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's all I got. I'm gonna open up the mic to see if anybody else want to share. Mic check. Mic check. Just updating the list of the community meetings coming up. Um, Everybody knows where Shake and Bake is, but in case you don't, 1601 Pennsylvania Avenue, Tuesday, August 22nd, 6 to 8 p.m. Then next Thursday at the National Federation of the Blind, 200 East Wells Street, that's in South Baltimore. 200 East Wells Street, National Federation of the Blind, Thursday, August 24th, 6 to 8. And then on Tuesday, August 29th is the last in-person one. You can actually step up to a mic and bring your concerns right to Worley and Mayor Scott. The Greater Paradise Christian Center, 2900 East Oliver Street. Tuesday, August 29th, 6 to 8, Greater Paradise Christian Center, 2900 East Oliver Street. We went to the one on Monday at the Lord's Church in Park Heights. And I can tell you just from firsthand experience that Park Heights people were not feeling either one of those men. And they brought some damn good questions. And I stepped up to the mic and I brought up police brutality issues and pretty much told Worley to his face that internal affairs is a joke. I told him twice, and I said it louder the second time so he can hear me. So yeah, they have their little scripts in their minds of things that they're supposed to say and the politically correct things that they're supposed to say. But I'll tell you what, Worley is the king of deflection. Nothing is ever his fault. It's always something that has to be pushed off on somebody. There's somebody else to blame. He should be charged with dereliction of duty, and he has no business whatsoever being the commissioner of Baltimore Police Department. In fact, abolish the fucking police department. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check.
Okay. So I agree that there's a lot of deflection. This evening I was an invited guest to a group of 15 people in my community that my city council person put together. Worley was there to ask and answer questions. I did bring up the cases that happened in Northeast District when he was the major there, and he again confirmed that he knew all about them. And he did say, when I asked about Tyrone's case a little bit, he did say that, they were investigated and that he put it off on Greg Bernstein, saying Greg Bernstein didn't want to prosecute and that the police didn't have control over that. He talked about change that has happened. He talked about the legislation that has happened, and that they are trying to change. I brought up the culture of policing because he brought up concerns about young people who are committing crimes, but they can't do anything because they're so young and things like that. So that's something to bring up with him because I said, first of all, kids that are young don't need to be arrested. They need treatment and social services. I also, and in talking about that, I explained that sort of led into one of my concerns, and this is not the West Coalition, this is Hillary, is that the police are people who kids look to for behaviors. And if police are going to be members of the community and are going to do community policing or are going to be role models of any kind, at this point, I don't think they should be. But if they are going to be, they need to not do violent things. When kids look at the police getting away with all these behaviors that we know they're doing, then kids think that's okay to do that and it's okay to be violent with each other. Let's not point at kids and say, they're being the wrong ones. Let's look at the police and say, you need to do better. You need to behave better. You need to do peacekeeping, not policing. And that's the way to show kids what we want them to do and behave, not pointing the finger at other folks. He did again say they've made mistakes. He again said that he owns that there's big mistakes happening in Brooklyn Park and that kind of stuff. The other concern that came up that concerned me a lot was that he talked a little bit about the mental health cases, like you were just speaking about, and he was saying that the police have to respond to these and they have to respond with a bunch of them. And he made the comment that mental health folks are not going to be a part of that equation because they're not going to go out in the middle of the night, and because having a mental health response instead of a police response isn't always safe because people have weapons. But that he did make the comment they're not going to go out with us. We need to change some things in this city. There can be teams. There are teams in the county that go out to mental health crises. We can make that change. We need to ask questions about this because he was saying the police need to get trained and are getting trained to do safe crisis management. Well, I don't see it yet, and I'll only believe it when I see it. So I would encourage folks in the subsequent meetings to ask about that, to ask about accountability. He did reference the recent laws, and again, he's pushing it off. He's saying the investigations happen and the decisions happen based on what the state's attorney wants to do or what the attorney general is going to do. Again, deflecting. So I encourage anybody who goes to any of these meetings to continue the dialogue. I think we need to work on this relationship. I think the culture of policing is a problem in this city. And that became clear, and I think he owned that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is I know that Tawanda was talking about Ruiz and all of that, and when I mentioned that some of the officers, had been promoted, he said, just one. And I said, yeah, and that one was involved in a lot of different cases. And he said, I know. So he's clearly aware of Ruiz.
Dereliction of duty.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Wow, and thank you, Hillary, for going out, raising your concerns. Thank you for sharing them with us as well. But it's interesting. I just want you guys to know, right now we're being watched by 2 city cops. Right there, we done had seven circle around us. 2 city cops, and we had seven circle around us. But meanwhile, again, nobody came to Brooklyn Home. Where was they at when Brooklyn Home was going on? But they watching us. They watching a peaceful protest. So, did they get that? I hope they got that loud and clear. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you also about the FOP. I heard them this week on the news, and their FOP had the nerve to say that they don't like the way that they can't question children. Officers can't question children unless they're lawyers around or their parents. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Why would you want to talk to a child? But meanwhile, with the Leopold, you guys go down there 5 or 10 days later, in my brother's case, months later, suited up with your attorneys to even talk about what happened to my brother. Shame on y'all with that foolishness. I just had to bring that out. It's disgusting. But we can go on all night to talk about the issues because it's a lot of them. But again, I'm gonna ask anybody, do they want to say something before we go into our very sad list of police brutality and community violence list? And we have a long list tonight. And unfortunately, it was like what my sister anticipated, and she said that, and even Uncle Bill said the same thing. He said that, it was a freeze on the list, but he said he prayed. Everybody was saying it's not prayed, but he said that they were hoping that we wouldn't have a long list, but I knew that we would. It's disgusting. Literally tonight we had 44 names to uplift on that one police brutality list. And I don't know how many on the sad list, but I'm going to give anybody an opportunity to say anything before we go into our sad list. Mic check.
Mic check.
Awesome. So I don't hard are clear and our minds are clear. So we're going to move on at this point. And I want to read a disclosure real quick from the West Coalition. It is our mission of the West Coalition to work for accountability for Tyrone West and all the victims of police brutality. We believe that there is a connection between police brutality and community violence. Police can use police can use de-escalation strategies to defuse situations without necessary use of force. And we encourage community members to resolve disputes without violence. We care deeply about those families impacted by police brutality and community violence. We seek to lift up the names of their loved ones from a place of respect and care. We obtain lists and names of those shot and killed by police and those lost to the community violence from a national and local news outlets. We know that these are by no means exhaustive lists and that gun violence isn't the only way a person or people are murdered. We do not obtain detailed information about the circumstances surrounding each one of the deaths or the people who died. By reading these names, we are not condoning violence on any part of anybody involved in the situation. So let's take 1 minute, guys, because the list is so long. Normally I try to do two, and I know one is not enough. But if you're in the prayer, please say a prayer, like a powerful one, because I pray every night. And if you're not, that's okay. That's fine as well. Please send nothing but positivity, because we need it. Just remember that these are someone loved ones. It may be a list that we're reading, but this is someone family members. This is some families that lives have been changed overnight. These are families that never signed up for a club of having their loved ones murdered, whether they was murdered by police or by community violence. So let's take 1 minute starting now. Mic check.
Mic check. Check.
Thank you guys so much. I'm going to bring up my brother Brian. Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Twanda. I each week read out a list of names of people who died by violence here in Baltimore, largely so that we can lift them up and use their lives and their loved ones to remind ourselves of how important what we're doing is here, and we need to stay with it. This week, I only have four names to read. Three names to read, but there are 6 other names that have not yet been released. So we'll be watching for those and bringing them out as they come along. So if you would just echo these back to me. Codell Brown.
Codell Brown.
Jefferson Villanueva.
Jefferson Villanueva.
Barbara Logan.
Barbara Logan.
Thank you.
My brother Brian. And now my sister Dina unfortunately has another sad list to read. It's unfortunate police brutality list. Mic check.
Mic check.
From August 2nd until the 15th, there were 44 known police murders across the country.
Shame.
On August 2nd, there were 5. 5. They generally average about 3 a day. But on August 2nd, there were 5 police-involved murders. Benjamin Pickens was, I'm sorry, wait, I'll I did it backwards. 33-year-old in San Diego, California, Benjamin Pickens.
Benjamin Pickens.
Again on the 2nd, a 37-year-old unidentified male in Neenah, Wisconsin, was killed at a gas station. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Also on the 2nd, a 54-year-old in a vehicle and his wife, 51-year-old, in Vandalia, Ohio, Rodney and Elaine Hellman.
Rodney and Elaine Hellman.
Imagine that. A husband and wife.
Number 8.
So, and also on the 2nd, Thomasville, Georgia, a 19-year-old, Alfred Cole.
Alfred Cole.
On August 3rd, there are 5 more. In Indianapolis, Indiana, 49-year-old Gary Harrell.
Gary Harrell.
Also on the 3rd, in Boise, Idaho, an unidentified person. They don't even know the gender.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Also on the 3rd, in Louisville, Kentucky, 47-year-old James Monty.
James Monty.
Also on the 3rd, Niagara Falls, New York, a 53-year-old unidentified man.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Also on the 3rd, in Hartford, Alabama, 35-year-old Andrew Massey.
Andrew Massey.
On August 4th, there was in Kingwood, Texas, an unidentified just person, no gender listed.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
In Roosevelt Island, New York, also on the 4th, in an apartment building, an unidentified 21-year-old male.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
On August 5th, 5 more. In Roseburg, Ohio, 63-year-old Larry Dunham.
Larry Dunham.
Also on the 5th, Columbia, Missouri, 22-year-old Marquise Rivera.
Marquise Rivera.
Also on the 5th, in Denver, Colorado, an unarmed 36-year-old Brandon Cole.
Brandon Cole.
In Columbus, Ohio, 27-year-old who was allegedly had a bottle. Zachary Bryson.
Zachary Bryson.
Orlando, Florida, also on the 5th. 28-year-old Dayton Viel.
Dayton Viel.
August 6th, 5 more. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, right up the road, right up 83. 17-year-old Darren Shaw.
Darren Shaw.
Also on the 6th, in La Mesa, California, a 41-year-old white male killed in a parking lot that was unidentified. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Also on the 6th, in Tucson, Arizona, who only had a knife, apparently, allegedly, an unidentified person, no gender.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Also on the 6th, in Gates, New York, 36-year-old Daniel Legler.
Daniel Legler.
Also on the 6th, in a gas station in Mission, Kansas, 40-year-old Shannon Wayne Marshall.
Shannon Wayne Marshall.
August 7th, they dropped back down to their average of 3. In Dallas, Texas, an unknown age person named Corey Thomas.
Corey Thomas.
Also on the 7th, Los Angeles, California, 34-year-old Arturo Cernas.
Arturo Cernas.
Also on the 7th, in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, Oh, another one while in the vehicle. 44-year-old Michael Rizicki.
Michael Rizicki.
On August 8th, 3 more. In Ransom, Kansas, 46-year-old Jesse Nichols.
Jesse Nichols.
Also on the 8th, in Tacoma, Washington, 41-year-old male, unidentified. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Also on the 8th, in West Hartford, Connecticut, no age was given, it just says an unidentified person. Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe. On August 9th, there were 4. In Conyers, Georgia, 31-year-old Charles Rice.
Rice.
In Osceola, Arkansas, 33-year-old Tavion James.
James.
In Columbus, Ohio, no age was provided, and it just says an unidentified person. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
And then the last one on the 9th was in Provo, Utah, a 75-year-old. He was killed by the FBI. They raided his home for allegedly threatening the president and a couple of other elected officials, and the FBI shot him in his home. Oh, I put it away before I said his name. It is Craig Robertson.
Craig Robinson.
Okay. So then on August 10th, in Russell, New York, a 34-year-old Sean Sheridan. In Watertown, Tennessee, was killed in a house. 60-year-old Kevin Withrow. Okay. Also on the 10th, Platte County, Missouri, 25-year-old Jonathan Heath Taylor. On the 11th, in San Bernardino, California, killed in a gas station, an unknown, unidentified, unaged man. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
On the 11th also, Chicago, Illinois, 36-year-old Lewis Gordon Hay. On the 12th, in Hillsborough County, Florida, a 37-year-old Eric, oh, you gotta bear with me here, Blasick? I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. Eric Blasick. On August 12th again, in Pleasant Hill, Iowa, a 25-year-old Bradley Heeswick. In Saginaw, also on the 12th, Saginaw, Michigan, a 58-year-old Thomas Baskin. On August 13th, in Hickory, North Carolina, 27-year-old Timothy Spencer Jr. On the 14th, in Princeton, North Carolina, an unidentified male, no age given. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Also on the 14th, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 27-year-old Eddie Irizarry. And on the 15th, in San Diego, California, an unidentified, no age given male. Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Thank you.
No, thank you, and thank Brother Brian, and thank everybody from the West Coalition. Sending love and healing to Uncle Bill, who's under the weather right now, him and his family. Um, it's just too many names. And and it's on all levels, even in the community violence list and the police brutality list. It's all connected. I call it the highway of hell. And the highway of hell is the system. It's designed, it's not broke, it never was fixed. It's designed to wipe us all out. There is no justice, it's just us. And that's the saddest part. We're just trying to hold folks accountable. And the part that really broke my heart tonight was all of the cases. But the part that really stood out, you had a couple, a husband and a wife, executed. And guess what? They probably won't get no accountability whatsoever. Because all the officers got to say is, I feared for my life. That is disgusting. And I'm thankful that they didn't have any babies in the car. Unfortunately, it was them, but they're wiping out families. It goes to show you they will wipe us completely out. They don't care. You got a husband and a wife in a vehicle, and they're murdered. And we don't hear nothing about this. That's why I think it's very important that we uplift these people's names. And then the saddest part, those are only the people that were gunned down. What about the people that they beat and murdered this week that they beat? And then what about the victims that survived? Because everybody that get a bad encounter with police officers, and even in the community, they they survive. So I feel sorry for the survivors. I feel sorry for the victims. I feel sorry right now. Like I said, there is no justice. It's just us, and we need to hold them accountable. Number one, we hold ourselves accountable, always doing stuff with integrity, respect, and in truth and in life. That's the first thing. And the second thing is hold them accountable. Don't let them get off with just telling us anything. When you hear about someone being murdered, whether it was in the community or by a killer cop, do your own homework before you put a bad label on him or her. Do your own research. Because the media will lead you down a dead end road. They're not going to tell you everything. Most of the time, especially when it's involved in police deaths, they're going to make the police seem like the hero. So do your own homework, be your own conscious consumer. Remember, live to love to live. I love you all, and I hope that we will see you at the meeting on Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Shake and Bake, 6 p.m. from 6 to 8. Really do not deserve to serve. We need somebody that's going to really hold these killer cops in their self accountable. We can't take no shorts. No more shorts. No more shorts. We finally need to get people that's going to do right. And it's sad that I feel like a lot of them have good intentions, good hearts, but when they come down to a dollar bill in the check, they turn the blind eye. They're not no longer working for you and me. They're working for the dollar. Remember, it's not about the income. It's about the outcome. I believe you on that. Live to love to live. And we will see you guys next West Wednesday. Mic check.
Mike,